Holy Quran. Go to Surah 3, Ayat 140. And I believe that ayat will say, it talks about Allah has given both the believers and the disbelievers wounds. So everyone has a wound. And I can't remember the exact word in Arabic. I have it written down somewhere, but the word wound, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes, sir.
when you
It's
clear the word in Arabic, it also means, I think it means suppression.
right. Is it
Okay, could you, brother, could you read 140, I think, and 141, if I'm not mistaken?
I think it's 139 and 140.
Okay.
all right? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. If a wound has afflicted you, a wound like it has also afflicted the disbelieving people.
Mhm.
And we will bring these days to men by turns, that Allah may know those who believe and take witnesses from among you. And Allah loves not the wrongdoers. That's 139.
Okay, and read the next one,
Shall I
please.
continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what he may purge, and that he may purge those who believe and deprive the disbelievers of blessings. Okay.
But now like I said, I can't remember all the Arabic words, but I remember when we cleared that, we actually discussed that one time during the Zoom meeting.
Yes,
The
sir.
way we would translate that and find the equivalent. So if the believers have a wound and the disbelievers, so both the believers and the disbelievers have wounds, that means everyone has a wound, right?
Yes, sir.
But in the Dianetics, aren't we taught that in the tech that all of us have engrams? Because our first engram is with our mother, right? Through childbirth, yes?
That's right.
Okay. So it's like everybody has a reactive mind.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
everyone has a reactive mind. Some of us have engrams that haven't been keyed in yet, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So now if everyone has a reactive mind, and if we all have engrams that have been keyed in and we have engrams that have not been keyed in, that means that all Allah has to do is set up a particular situation to start turning keys, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's another part in the Holy Quran, it talks about people sitting on chairs face to face. And
Yes, sir.
when you clear all that, I mean, all the Arabic, it really is describing processing.
Yes,
But
sir.
one of the things we have to look at is if we all have engrams, we all have a reactive mind. What we're going through as believers is that Allah will purge us. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the word purge in the Arabic sense means to reduce. Well, that's what you do to an engram, right? You reduce it by getting rid of the charge, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So even though we all have engrams, Allah, and this is just, my opinion, Allah has to be equal for everyone. So everyone gets the reactive mind. However, those that follow the instructions of his minister will get the tech in order to reduce this reactive mind before the shock of the hour gets here, correct?
Yes, sir.
And those who don't get rid of the reactive mind when the shock of the hour comes, it's going to blow them out the box, right?
Yes, sir.
The example we use, because we like using demo kits. Remember when we spoke about how a wildland fire is extinguished? Do y'all remember that, family? Wildland fires?
Yes, but you started another fire to stop the fire.
Right. So
Right.
if you ever see wildland firefighting, this is part of what we had to learn in the academy, that based on where the fire is, you can determine based on humidity of the atmosphere, wind direction, and wind speed, you can tell what direction the fire is going to travel and how fast it will travel. So if you have all these things in place, you can kind of aim for a point where the fire is going to go. Then you see wildland firefighters setting fires intentionally, and some people might ask, why are they setting fires intentionally in order to fight the fire? But when you understand that they're setting a fire to burn away the vegetation under a controlled operation so that by the time the real fire gets there, there's no vegetation to burn, so the fire stops. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And that's what I perceive coming from the perspective of a firefighter or
Mm.
retired firefighter. That's what I see what auditing is. Auditing removes the debris that is combustible
Right,
before the real fit hits the shan. Y'all understand what I'm saying,
right,
right?
right,
Okay. But if you don't get rid of all this debris in advance, when the shock of the hour comes, you're right there in the midst of the fire, right?
Mm.
So
yes,
Minister
sir.
Farrakhan has given us the tools to remove the combustibles. In the fire service, we call it fire load. If a building has a low fire load, it won't burn as quickly as a building that has a higher fire load. That building will burn up almost immediately.
Mm. Wow.
Make sense, family?
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's the shock of the hour. Um, Anything else before we start the PowerPoint? All right.
Yeah, you teaching, bro.
All praise is due to
Yes,
Allah,
sir.
brother. I'm just taking all these years of fire service and converting it into the fire that's in our mind, brother, because some of us are going through some fire right now, but it's like in the second chapter of Daniel, it says, I think it's talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were in an oven of affliction, but there was one likened unto the Son of Man that was in the oven with them, keeping it cool.
Absolutely. A
And I
bad
see,
Negro.
say again?
A bad Negro.
Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro. So that's all of us. And I see the minister as one of those Jesuses because he gave us the tech. We've had things go on in our personal life that if, and I'll say this for myself, had we not had the tech, we would have lost it. We would have turned back because some of us have. A couple of years ago, I went through some of the hardest trials of my life, and I'm thankful to Allah that I survived it. But everything hit me all at one time, and I didn't think I was going to make it. It was like Allah will test us in the things that really, really are the most painful for us. It's like Sister Anna said, He's the auditor. He is the auditor, and like everyday living is we're going through processing with the Savior. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So he will put people in our life to bull bait us. He will show us how to handle tone of not tone but TR 6 and 7. How to handle originations because you got sometimes we got to deal with knuckleheads, right?
Yep.
And sometimes the knucklehead is our own self, correct?
Absolutely.
So I think every day is process. The God is processing us because he's already chosen us, so he's got to prepare us for the kingdom, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Now this whole thing started with me studying one thing, and it led to something totally of what I wasn't even studying. Um, Brother Tawanda, you remember what you had to do to prepare for a model session?
Yes, sir.
Um, the first thing you have to do is have you eaten, have you had enough rest, and then
Yes, sir.
this is the session, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you have to determine uh, we will now run, and then you give what process you're going to run, but then you have to define all the words, right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, all I did was the first thing this morning when I woke up, this was actually heavy on my mind. So I got up and started writing things down. And I said, what would happen if I take the same process learned in the SRD, but applied it to ayats from the Holy Quran?
Wow. Wow. I
And
love the way you think, Brother Lukman. I love the way you have that, it's literally, from my perspective, a calling, because it's not everyone that has it, but those that have it, it's like a gift that then helps all of us understand something differently.
all praise is due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Tawanda. It's, I'm a firm believer, and I think all of us have this. When Allah says He takes men's souls at night, and some He
Mm.
withholds, where He decrees death on them, and some He
Mhm.
allows to return. I believe we return with assignments, but because we don't write things down as soon as we wake up, we forget the assignment.
Mm. Mm.
Mhm.
So I keep a notepad and a pen next to my bed, and 9 times out of 10, as soon as I wake up, there's something there, and I
Mhm.
hurry up and I write it down before I forget it.
Mhm.
Wow.
So
Uh,
go ahead, brother.
yes, sir, brother. It reminds me of something I read in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill,
Yes, sir.
where he's traveling on a plane with a he's like an engineer. He was traveling with an engineer, businessman, but an engineer who was working on a problem that he couldn't solve. But this man suddenly fell asleep for a while, and then suddenly just woke up. He had a pen next to him and a piece of pad, and wrote something down and went back to sleep. Then
Mhm.
Napoleon Hill says he then said to him, "Do you realize that you woke up and you did this?" And he hadn't realized that. So when he then looked at his notes, and he said, "Oh, this is the equation that I've been trying to solve."
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the that phenomena that you describe, of where basically we're given assignments or we're given answers. We're taken on a journey, like
Mm-hmm.
the prophets, that they have this encounter with God, a visitation or the night journey, or whatever it is that is happening with the prophet,
Mm-hmm.
and coming back, but making the record. But because I noticed things that when we awaken, the things that you were dreaming about or seeing or experiencing, they quickly vanish.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not quick to record them, they'll be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. That's one of the reasons why you have a lot of individuals that are speakers will tell you as soon as you wake up in the morning, don't pick up your cell phone. Just sit
Mm.
in silence for like 5 or 10 minutes. Um,
Wow.
just be cognizant because when we're in a state of sleep, if we look at this from the level of brain frequency,
Mhm.
we're in a state of theta,
Yes,
and
sir.
then below theta you have
Mhm.
delta.
Yes, sir.
But as you
That's
wake back
Mhm.
up and you're traveling back up through theta and then alpha and then back to beta,
Yeah, put it there.
when you pass through theta, that's when you're starting to wake up, or when you're going from delta to theta, that's the dream state. It's
mm.
like these are different like different stations. I perceive it as different frequencies of radio stations. And then what happens is you can only remember
Mm.
based on that frequency.
Yeah.
As soon as you
Yes, sir.
come up to beta, you're gonna lose everything that was at theta. So you gotta, like for me, try to write
Right.
it down really quick. And this is what I did today.
Mhm.
Mm.
This actually, I started out comparing a model session to studying our lessons.
Mm.
And this was the final result. So if this makes sense, family, I'm grateful and thankful to Allah, because when I got up this morning to study, this was not the subject I had determined to study. But this is what
Mm.
Allah blessed me to see. And as soon as I see it, my thought process is I have to share it with the believers, because I live with the thought process that tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I
Mm.
was told years ago, I was told back in 93 by a very special individual I came in contact with. He said to live each day as if it's your last, but live each day as if you're going to live forever.
Mm.
And I try to live that every day. So this was the result of what Allah blessed me to see in my study this morning, and I want to share this with the believers. So the question is, can a camel pass through the eye of a needle? That's the question we're going to ask tonight. And because it's going on 12 o'clock where you are, family, I'm going to try not to keep us too long so that y'all aren't up too late.
Thank you. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to
So,
Allah.
so this is based on the Holy Quran, Surah 7, Ayah 40. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It says, those who reject our messages and turn away from them haughtily, the doors of heaven will not be open for them, nor will they enter the garden until the camel pass through the eye of the needle. And thus do we reward the guilty. Now, as I looked at this, I'll give a quick overview first. So the overview is this. Could we understand the concept of processing through the study of this ayat? In other words, everything that is true is in the Holy Quran, correct?
Yes.
All truth has to be in the Holy Quran.
Mhm.
Can we identify a cycle of action that's contained in this ayat that would allow us to find a relationship between Dianetic processing and the wisdom contained in the Holy Quran in the form of allegory? And if we remember, the rule of interpretation is some of its verses are decisive, they are the foundation of the book, and some of its verses are allegorical, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what we want to do is we're just going to do word clearing. We're going to look at allegory because what could a camel walking through the eye of a needle actually represent in reality? It would have to be a metaphor for something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to take something that the minister has said, because I look at it like this. The rule of interpretation is, to me, some of the verses are allegorical, some are decisive. I take the words of Minister Farrakhan, the Most High Elijah Muhammad, Master Farah Muhammad. To me, that's what's decisive. And I have to take what's allegorical and I have to say, okay, how can I find something in what the minister has taught us to undergird or be the foundation, or I can use as a receipt to verify what it is that I'm trying to pass on to other people? Because everything we teach, we have to go back to what the minister has taught us as the foundation for our argument. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, the first argument I use to support anything we talk about with the tech is this. If Allah God has given us a book explaining all things, and this is what he gives us in Surah 16, ayat number 89, then the concept of processing has to be in the Holy Quran, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Allah can't say, I've given you a book explaining all things except Dianetics. It can't say, I've given you a book explaining all things except processing. Does that make sense?
Absolute sense.
Okay. So now, so if processing is not in the Holy Quran, then verse 1689 would be incorrect, wouldn't it? Does everyone understand how verse 1689 would be false if processing was not in the Holy Quran?
Yes, sir.
Because then you can't use the word all things, right? Could you?
Right.
Okay. So all things means all things. But if processing is not in the Holy Quran, then verse 1689 would be incorrect, which would also indicate that the Holy Quran is not a pure book. This book, it says, this book, there's no doubt in it. Well, if processing is not in the Holy Quran, then 1689 is false. Then surah number 2 starts off with an incorrect ayah, doesn't it? Does everyone follow that logic?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
100%.
Okay. So that's just it's called proof by contradiction. So since we already know that it's a pure book, then processing has to be contained within it. So we use what's called discrete mathematics, or mathematics that deals with proof theory, and we apply the different types of proofs to the Holy Quran we use mathematics to verify what we're sharing, and that's why no one can defeat the argument or this or what the minister has taught over all these years, because the minister, if you understand the structure of a mathematical proof, you can line that up exactly with how the minister teaches. The minister teaches in a way that's very mathematically precise. Does that make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very mathematically precise.
It's also in the Bible.
Say what?
I said, isn't this also in the Bible?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
ma'am.
It is. It is also in the Bible. So I'm calling this the parable of the camel. Let's see. So we're going to do some word clearing. This is a model session, Brother Tawanda. So we're going to look at some word clearing.
Yes, sir.
What is an idiom? Could the camel represent a person?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, Brother Lukman, I believe that the minister referred to Barack Obama in that way, you know, in the early days of his presidency.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, he did. As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but when he in the Holy Quran it talks about in this she camel don't hamstring the she camel. I think he used that in reference to Barack Obama, meaning don't do anything that would bring harm to him or something to that effect. Is that what you
Yes,
remember?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, now when you see what the camel represents, then that'll give us some more mass on what we're studying as well. Could the concept of passing through, okay, passing through, could that represent processing?
Mm.
What does passing through actually mean in Arabic? What could the eye of the needle represent?
Mm.
So we're going to look at all these words in Arabic. Then we're going to do word clearing in Arabic and see if this does not line up with processing. So, what is a parable? Well, the Arabic word is mathala. And I've said this before, but what's the first four letters of the word mathala?
Math.
Math. Math. The word mathala in Arabic means a metaphor, an adage, a proverb, a parable, or a simile. Now, the way I remember this is if you take the first letter, M, A, P, P, S, it spells the word maps. Does that make sense? Maps.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the fire service, everything is an acronym. Everything you use is based on acronyms. It's called chunking, where you remember large pieces of information by producing it down to a mnemonic device or an acronym. And if you look at the Arabic, this is from an Arabic dictionary. The word mathala means to represent in a picture or a graph, to portray, to paint, or to sculpture. Now, where do you see this in the text? This is found in what? In what study in Scientology would you find something that's similar to this Arabic definition right here? Has anyone ever heard of the student hat or the demo? Huh?
Demo kit?
The demo kit. Yes, ma'am. Because in the demo kit, the one thing LRH talks about is if you can't represent a thought or a concept in a picture, then you don't understand it.
Mm.
And you either have to sketch it on paper or sculpt it in 3 dimensional. It's called a clay table demo. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Clay table demo?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you look at the Arabic word for parable, it is exactly equivalent to what they use called the demo kit. And that's why we say that the universe is Allah's demo kit. If you look at the problem book, really, it's a demo kit, except
Wow.
Allah uses planets and universes and
Mm.
the weight of atmosphere. Those are demos. We could say those are metaphors, those are parables, but if we combine the concept, the problem book is a book of demo kits. Because once you start studying Mars, then you'll learn things about Mars, but Mars is really designed to teach us something about ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay. So we see the word mathala, it also means to sketch. And when we use the word graphically, in mathematics is where we use a graph, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you do what's called coordinate geometry, you start, your X and Y axis, we're using a graph, but really mathematics is different formulae, different equations, different things in mathematics can be used for us to understand a knowledge of self. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So when you sketch something, that's in 2 dimensions. When you sculpt it, it's in 3 dimensions. If you're using graphically, that's mathematical. Okay. So really what we're doing is the parable of the camel. We're saying, well, how is the camel a metaphor for something else? How can we marry the supreme wisdom with the supreme technology? How can we use the concept of a camel getting through the eye of a needle to represent something involving magnetic processing? Everyone follow that so far?
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. All right. Now, what is an idiom? An idiom is an expression in the usage of a language that has a meaning that cannot be understood from the combined meanings of its elements. So if I gave you the statement, I said, okay, up in the air. If you word cleared up, you word cleared the word in and word cleared the and air, you will not come to the conclusion that up in the air means undecided. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If I said clear this term, kick the bucket, it would not bring you to the concept of someone passing away, correct?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so an idiom is a phrase or a statement that's used to describe something else that you can't determine that based on the words you have here. So another way of looking at it is a language that's peculiar to a people or a district, community, class, or group or dialect. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So one of the things I know in London, and I only know this because I remember hearing Idris Elba speak about it. You want to describe to someone about how to get from point A to point B, and you go down the street, you can turn right there, and you turn left, you go to the house, and Bob's your uncle.
Yes, sir.
And Bob's your uncle to me makes no sense. But if
Yeah.
someone living in that culture, they understand it, and Bob's your uncle means, and you've arrived at your destination, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would be like an idiom.
Yes, sir.
You have to be a part of that culture to understand what it means. It's a style or form of artistic expression that is characteristic of an individual, a period or movement, or a medium or instrument. Now, I want to stop at this point for just a second and explain why this is so important. I'm gonna share a book that Brother Jabril, he mentions this book in one of his study guides from 1982, and the book is called How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler.
Wow.
And I'm making reference to this book because if we're studying our lessons, if we're studying the 13 rules of instruction, if we're studying the speeches of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if we're studying the problem book, and we come across certain words, not only do we have to clear the words, we have to understand the context of the word in which the word is being used, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in order to come to the best context in which the word is being used by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it makes sense that we go through the door of his best student. Would that not make sense?
100%.
So we can have our opinion of what something means, but if we want to be precise, the best thing to do, and I call this doing the inverse operation. In mathematics, you do the inverse operation to make sure your response is correct. Whatever opinion we may have or whatever conclusion we might come to, our duty is to find what the minister has already provided based on this subject and line up our understanding based on the answers he already has given. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It doesn't mean we can't be free thinkers, but it does mean that we can be precise. But if we follow the minister's instruction and we look at the answers he has given, That to me is like doing the inverse operation in mathematics. The inverse operation brings you back to the original problem. It brings you back to the original starting point. And who's better to bring us back to the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad than his best student? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But I want to give more data on this, why it's so important. An idiom can be equivalent to speaking in formula. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to everyone else on the Zoom meeting who's not from London, if I just said to you, if you go down the street, you take a left and Bob's your uncle, what would be your response if I said that? Anyone?
It would be, huh?
Who is
Who is Bob, right? It doesn't make any sense, does it? But if I'm in London and I say that, then that person I'm speaking to, they know that it means what, Brother Tawanda?
You're right there. You're right where you want to be.
Right where you're supposed to be. Okay. So idioms on one level can be the same as speaking in formulae, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. This is why it's so important for us not only to study our lessons, but to clear the words. Because we have to look at if Master Prophet Muhammad used this word, in what way is this word to be used that will allow us to make sense of what Allah has given us, correct?
Correct.
So as we study the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we can get the context of what was meant when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said X, Y, and Z. So through the minister, we align our mind with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which aligns our mind with the Savior. That's called the transitive law in mathematics. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
If A equals B, then and B equals C, then A has to equal C, right?
Yes, sir.
If we align our mind up with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who are we aligning our mind up with?
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad
And
and through him Master Fard Muhammad.
that's from Muhammad, yes. Okay. So this is coming from the book, How to Read a Book. And if you don't have this book in your library, I highly recommend that you get it. This book was actually referenced by Brother Jabril Muhammad. My daughter, this was part of her required reading when she was in law school. And
Wow.
she came to visit me once and she had this book. And I immediately went to Barnes and Noble and had to get my own copy.
Wow.
Because I like to put notes and stuff in it. I like to highlight and write notes and all kinds of stuff. But in the book, it says this. It says, in the reading of a book, coming to terms is the first step beyond the outline. Unless the reader comes to terms with the author, the communication of knowledge from one to the other does not take place. For a term is the basic element of a communicable knowledge. If the author uses a word in one meaning and the reader reads it in another, words have passed between them, but they have not come to terms. Where there is unresolved ambiguity in communication, there is no communication, or at best, communication must be incomplete. When there's ambiguity in the communication of knowledge, all that is in common are the words that one person speaks or writes and another hears or reads. So long as ambiguity persists, there is no meaning in common between writer and reader. For the communication to be successfully completed, therefore, it is necessary for the two parties to use the same words with the same meanings. In short, they come to terms. When that happens, communication happens, the miracle of two minds with but a single thought. That's How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler, page 96 and 97. So I want to give a quick example here. If you have seen this experiment done before, do not respond. This is for those that have not seen this before. I hold in my book, in my hand, the Holy Quran, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I did this in the prisons one time. I would give this example. And I would say to the brothers in there, I'm saying that this book is read. And I tell you, I can prove that this book is red. And one brother was like, brother, that book is green. I said, no, brother, the book is red. I said, I can prove it. And I said, if I can prove to you that this book is red, you owe me 20 push-ups. And he said, okay, brother, prove to me it's red. Is this book red?
READ.
Yeah, exactly. Because individuals assumed I was saying red RED.
Right.
And
Yes.
I got him, and I said, no, brother, you ain't got to do the push-ups. I'm just messing with you. But it's the same as coming to terms. So when
Mm,
we look in our lessons, if you notice, there's certain words that stand out. There's certain words that are capitalized where they shouldn't be capitalized. And to
yes.
me, I say our attention is being drawn to that word for a reason.
Mm,
And
mm,
if you ever look up certain words in our Supreme Wisdom lessons, this is just me. This is something I was studying, and it gave me a deeper understanding of the magnitude of what we have that we really don't study. But when you look at these key words, but you clear them in Arabic, it gives you another dimension of what is actually in our Supreme Wisdom lessons. Make sense?
yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So it's about one person speaking the word and another person using the word, and both people have to be in union with one another in what word is being used and how it's being used. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, does everyone know the word ambiguity? Because this might be a misunderstood. When there's ambiguity in the communication of knowledge, what does the word ambiguity mean?
It's double meaning.
Yep, double meaning is one.
Something that's not clear.
Something that's not clear. Attorneys will use this all the time. They
Mm,
use
ambiguity.
ambiguous words, and
Mm,
someone who's trying to deceive will use an ambiguous word because when they use a certain word and you do the definition of the word, they say, no, that's not how I meant it. I meant it this way. When you catch them
mm,
in the lie, then they change the meaning of the word.
They also have brother in politics. They say strategic ambiguity, which
Mm-hmm.
means they're being
wow.
unclear for strategic purposes.
Yes,
Wow.
to deceive. We call it tricknology.
Yes, sir.
We call it tricknology because remember, telling lies. Oh, I'm thankful to a lot of this came to mind. Let me step into this for just a split second. By Allah's grace, this was something that I remember last week. Remember, tricknology is telling lies, stealing, and how to master the original man, right? That's what our lessons say, yes?
That's right.
Okay. So we have three separate elements: telling lies, stealing, and how to master the original man, correct?
Smell the part of it.
Everyone with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is everyone not with me? Is there anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about? Lost
I was
funds? Huh?
I was just wondering if murder was part of it, brother. But I've been told that it has not. It's not by my wife.
No, it's Lost on Muslim lesson number one, question number four.
Mm,
Why did we run Yaqub and his maid devil from the root of civilization over the hot desert into the caves of West Asia, as they now call it Europe? What is the meaning of you and wrote? How long ago? What did the devil bring with him? What kind of life did he live? And how long before he brought the forgotten technology? But Musa taught them devilishment, which is what? Telling lies,
like
stealing,
stealing
and how to master the
to
original man.
master the original man. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, now look at it from this standpoint. Now, I'm not saying this is the interpretation, but this is just something that I saw when I was studying it. If tricknology is telling lies and stealing and how to master the original man, then to me that means mastering the original man. It's separate from telling lies and stealing, which means there's a way that he's mastering us by not telling lies.
Mm,
So he's telling the truth, but he's still mastering us.
right.
So that could be one of the things could be what's called the ambiguous word.
Right.
Now, in Dianetic Tech, there's something called investigations. I
Yes, sir.
highly recommend you take that course. I think it's a free course online.
Online. Yes,
You
sir.
deal with what's called the 12 out points.
Mm.
And the 12 out points gives you an in-depth understanding of what tricknology is. If you combine the concepts of tricknology, telling lies and stealing, and how to master the original man, you can combine it with what's called the 12 out points, or what's called what's called the illogics, and it gives you a mathematical understanding of how we are deceived. Highly recommend we do that.
Thank you, brother.
All praise is due to Allah.
What was the name of the course again?
It's called Investigations.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a
On
very
the volunteer minister courses.
uh-huh. And if you go to Scientology.org, I believe it's a free course.
Yes.
It's a free course online. But it gives you a deeper appreciation of how technology is used. Okay, family, let's look at the eye of the needle. What could the eye of the needle represent? The Arabic word is Sami al-Kiyati. Sami al-Kiyati is the Arabic. So now, what is the meaning of the word needle? What is the significance of the eye of the needle? And how does this provide a demo kit for the reactive mind? And we might say to ourselves, how are these two connected? How are these two connected? This would almost, we could say everywhere in the Holy Quran where you see the word parable, parable of the gnat, parable of the bee, could we say the demo kit of the bee? Could the bee be considered a demo kit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could.
Sir.
Okay, same thing. So when you look at the word needle means a small, slender, usually steel instrument that has an eye for thread or surgical sutures at one end, and that is used for sewing. But the word needled means to tease or goad someone persistently. So when we look at our lessons, the nurse was the one that stuck the needle in the brain, right?
Mm.
Okay. So when we understand the word needle, meaning to tease or to goad, let's look at tease and goad and see where it brings us. The word tease means to annoy a person by making him the victim of irritating remarks or actions, repeated time and time again. And the word goad means something that torments or spurs action to urge on by continually irritating. So goad is dealing with compulsions, isn't it?
Well,
To spur action or to urge someone to do something. We could say that's a compulsion.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when you look at tease and you look at gold, how could that represent something contained within? What is the
why does
concept?
good have to be compulsion?
Because the goad means to torment or to spur an action. So the word goad, another word of goad is when you goad is like when you're riding a horse and you whip it to get it to move. So the word goad means to torment something in order to produce an action by continually irritating. So
I
what's a
understand
compulsion?
that. I just don't understand
Okay,
why
so
it
what
equals
is a compulsion?
compulsion.
A compulsion is when we're sitting here saying, okay, it's Ramadan. I'm not going to eat during the day. And here comes that voice. Well, it does say if you're sick or on a journey, you can fast like another day. So if you go ahead and just have a little bit of food, then so you see where the compulsion comes in? Compulsion is when we decide to not do something or to do something, and then our mind says the exact opposite and then justifies us doing what we shouldn't be doing. Does that make sense?
Yes. When you're forced to do something, you're pushed into something, you're forced to do it.
Right. That's a compulsion, but that compulsion comes from within.
Mm.
So when you look at the word we used before was coin, COIN, and that actually comes from just a mnemonic device. That means compulsion, obsession, insanity, and neuroses. It's just an easy way to remember it. But compulsion is when we decide that we're not going to do something, and then that inner voice keeps bugging us over and over and over. In psychology, it's called obsessive compulsive disorder. But have any of us ever experienced, we decided, you know, today I'm just going to fast, but there's another voice that says, well, no, we're not going to fast.
Mm.
We're gonna stop and get this.
Yes, sir.
Does that make
Yep.
sense with regards to a compulsion?
Yes.
Okay. In study guide number 9, our intimate relationship with Rabbil Alameen. The study guide guides us to Surah 75, and if you look at the footnote, it talks about the 3 nafs: nafs amara, nafs lawama, and nafs mutmainna. But the nafs amara the nafs represents mind, and the word amara in Arabic means that which is constantly um, trying to influence us. So nafs amara is like the compulsive mind. In Buddhism, you have something called what's called the hungry ghost. Has anyone ever heard of the hungry ghost in Buddhism?
No, sir.
Okay, I won't go down that road then. But if you ever study Buddhism and you study the 6 realms of hell, there is one school of thought in Buddhism. You have what's called the Mahayana school of Buddhism, and you have what's called the Theravada school of Buddhism. These are 2 branches of Buddhism. One branch believes that when you speak about the 6 realms of hell, that is actually talking about 6 states of mind. So when you study the 6 realms of hell, you're looking at 6 different versions of the aberrated mind. So that's another thing that, you know, when you get some time, go study that. It's called the Wheel of Dharma, if I'm not mistaken. And you have what's called the 6 realms of hell, but you have something called the Hungry Ghost. And the Hungry Ghost represents, on one level, you could say represents compulsion, but it also represents addiction. Okay. So for me, you know, my name is Lukman, and I'm an addict. I love sugar. I love sweets, and I'm trying to break my sugar addiction. Okay. So my compulsion, something that torments me or spurs me to action to urge is like ice cream. I love ice cream. So I'm trying to get rid of the sweets. Does that make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the needle, if we look at it from T's and gold, an irritation that's contained within with regards to remarks, how would we say that in the language of what they call Scientologies, or the language of Scientology? What is that in Scientology?
Restimulation.
Let's get a little more specific. It is restimulation, but let's get a little more specific with something being said internally that irritates us. Could that be called? I'll give you a clue. Surah 114.
So on footing of the time.
Surah 114 talks about the what?
Oh, intense darkness.
Come on,
The
Scientology.
the whisperings of the slinking devil.
The
Is that
whispering
the
of the
one?
sneaking devil, but how would you say that in Scientology? How would you say that in Dianetic processing? That is called the what in Dianetics Book 1?
You can add demons.
Demon circuit.
Yes, sir.
So the demon circuit in Dianetics is equivalent to the whispering of the sneaking devil in Surah 114.
Yes, sir.
So these needles, you know, if we look at these allegorically, these needles could be phrases and statements in our mind. Remember when Morpheus was speaking to Neo? He said, there's something you know, you've known it all your life. It's like a
Yes.
needle in your mind.
Yes. Like a splinter in your
He
mind.
said,
Yes.
like a splinter in your mind. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So we're talking
Yes,
about the same thing. The needle is something that's contained within that causes an annoyance. It's irritating. It's like for those that have children will understand this. The child comes up and starts bugging you because it wants something, and you say no, and the child keeps bugging. You say no, and the child keeps bugging. Finally, you give the child what they want, so they'll stop bugging you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, obviously you didn't grow up in my house because I didn't. My father would raise his shirt and touch his belt buckle, and that was like a silencer on a gun. When he touched the belt buckle, he would tap it 3 times, and that was a warning. If you keep annoying me, this is what you're gonna get.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so that's the needle. So
Right.
since a needle can be something that's inserted into the body or beneath the skin, then a needle, metaphorically, could represent something inserted beneath our consciousness. Like when we tell people, you're really getting under my skin right now,
Mm,
right?
mm.
Something that irritates, annoys, or produces an urge to act. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. But
Okay.
look, man, if
Yes,
if I
sir.
can if I can add on, brother, with the needle in the head,
Of
you know,
course.
you know, we've discussed that as education,
Mm-hmm.
that the modern or the devil's education system, that
Mm-hmm.
it inserts undesirable elements into the mind, which
Yeah.
then trouble you later, because for you to even learn, you have to shake that off. So it's almost like you have to find what was inserted to
Mhm.
remove it, which is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was so successful, because he didn't have much of that.
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir. And I'm glad you brought that up. In the Dianetic Dictionary, there's something called educational aberration. Were you aware of that?
No, sir.
Okay. Educational aberration, by definition, is this. I'm going to read it straight from the book. It's the irrationalities and bad data a person has received as a result of his education by
Mm,
parents, in schools, and by experience. It's the accumulative in theta of the culture in which the pre-clear was raised.
wow.
It's what's called
Wow.
educational aberration. So the Most High Elijah Muhammad didn't have that. That was a blessing. You're you're
Yes,
you're
sir.
exactly right, brother. Thank you for that.
Praise be to Allah.
Brother, do you have this the Dianetic Dictionary?
No, and they've stopped them. Is it the red one?
Um,
The tech dictionary, the tech dictionary, with terms.
yes.
I know they used to have them, but they've stopped. They've kind of repealed them, so they're not even available in the orgs anymore. Over
Okay.
this side.
Okay. I'll take care of you, brother. I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you. I'll make sure you get one.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So the needle in the brain could also be, like we said, the demon circuit or compulsion. That's called Nafsamara. That study got number 9. Okay, so that's the needle. So let's look at the word of, because it's the eye of the needle, right? Now
Yes, sir.
the word of, when you use word of in mathematics, now you're talking about elements that are part of a set of something or something that is contained in something else. So when we look at the eye of the needle, it's a function word to indicate a point of reckoning, origin, derivation, cause, motive, or reason.
Mm,
So the problem is the needle, but this word eye means the origin. So if the needle is something that is a circuit, then the eye of the needle, the eye is the source of the circuit. Wouldn't that make sense?
sorry, but I missed that.
Okay. So the needle is the circuit, the demon circuit
Yeah.
in the mind, right?
Yes, sir.
But if you look at in the Arabic in the Holy Quran, it says the eye of the needle. So eye
Mm,
of the needle, the word of is a function word that indicates a point of reckoning or origin.
right.
So the eye of the needle, then the eye, EYE, the
Mm,
word of is indicating that the eye is the origin of this needle. So we're talking about a circuit, then
mm,
the eye represents what would be the root of the circuit.
absolutely.
So we're taking the words in Arabic now. So the
Absolutely.
eye is the origin or the cause of the circuit.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. And see, the camel has to walk through this.
Mm,
Okay. So the word I indicates the point of origin, the cause, motive, or reason for the needle, which is the source of the internal torment. Does everyone follow that concept?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So the needle in the brain that's found in Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, when it's talking about the 4 laborers at Patmos or Pilan, the nurse putting the needle in the brain could represent the fact that the educational system that we just spoke about is the source, or just this society in the West is the source of our internal torment, because this whole educational system has done what? Has put a whole lot of needles in our brains. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So now, what is the source of the internal tease, torment, or goading? So now we're going to the eye of the needle. It's like you look at what's called the eye of the storm, right?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, so we want to go to the source or the root of this torment that's taking place within us. The word eye means a hole or opening, but it also means to put poison into something to be toxic or to have
Wow.
venom.
Wow.
That means we've been bitten by snakes, haven't we?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So our internal torment has been a result of our coming in contact with a snake, right?
Yes, sir.
Another name for a cobra is an asp, ASP, right?
Yes, sir.
But what's an ASP in Scientology?
An antisocial personality.
Yes, that's the antisocial personality, also called an esprit or a suppressive, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, in our teachings, we have to bring and present 4 devils, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think it says bring and present 4 devils
At one time.
at one time, right? Because we come to the Zoom meeting, we bring our devils with us, but we're not presenting our devils right now, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
But when we go to auditing, you got to bring them and what? And you got to present them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And all of us can go back on our time track and find some snakes that bit us, could we?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, Brother Lukman, Dynetics deals with 4 dynamics. Talking about 4 devils,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the 4 Dynetics deals with four dynamics, whereas
Right.
Scientology deals with 8. But yeah,
Right.
but Dynetics deals with 4.
But now also, thank you. 2 quick points. One is when you go into book 1, when you go into the chapter dealing with demons, one thing L. Ron Hubbard does say, he says some people had as many as 4 demons.
Mm,
Our lessons say 4 devils. So there's
mm.
another marriage right there. And then I remember Sister Naira, I got this from Sister Naira. She said, when you look at the 4 flows, those are 4 devils.
Wow. Wow.
Because our
Okay.
devils are based on what was done to us and what we saw done, right?
Mm, mm,
And so based on what we saw, and then what's the difference between Iblis and Satan? Iblis is the evil that's restricted to ourself, which
stuff.
is the flow. That's flow 0, what we do to ourselves. And
Mm,
then it's based on, and then Satan is when our evil is transmitted to another person. That's
right.
flow 2, correct?
Mm,
So the way we abuse ourselves through what we do and what we say, sometimes we
mm,
use words,
mm,
and my wife keeps getting on my case about this. I keep saying
Mm-hmm.
negative things about myself. She goes, "You have to stop using that language." I say, "You're absolutely right."
mm,
But the what we do to ourselves and what we do to other people is rooted in what was done to us and what we
mm.
saw done between other people, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the root of our circuit, the root of our aberration is based on the eye of that, or the root of that is the venom that was placed within us by other people. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what does passing through mean? So we got to pass through the eye of the needle. We got to pass through this BS that's in our mind right
Mm,
now.
mm,
So the Arabic word for passing through is yalija. It means to penetrate, to engage, to get into the secret depth of one's heart, or to interpolate.
mm.
Then I had to go and
Interpolate.
I had to clear that word. Interpolate means to alter or corrupt something such as text by inserting new or foreign matter. Now, when we're going through processing, we are changing what's in our mind by inserting new ideas, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
We are giving up an old viewpoint of ourselves and gaining new viewpoints. We're going into the secret depth of our heart. The word heart also means mind, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have to pass through our own mind, meaning we have to get into the stuff from our past instead of avoiding it.
Yes, sir.
So the word interpolate comes from the Latin word interpolare, which means to refurbish, to alter. It means enter, which is within, and polare, which is to polish. Now, when you do a polish, it means to clean within, to purify, or to clear. So that we have to go through the eye of the needle, meaning we have to confront the garbage from our past. We got to go through it. Right? The camel must pass through, meaning the camel must penetrate into, engage, confront the secret depth of their heart to alter what is written back into its original form. Does that make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is the same as being grafted back into original.
Yes, sir.
Now, some people would say, well, you can't graft back into original. I beg to differ.
Mm.
And they'll use the lessons as a quote. Well, they didn't understand the lesson because the lesson said that the prophets have decided that it can't be done. It didn't say
Yes, sir.
God, it said the prophets.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're saying it can't be done, then you're saying that you're telling me that the Savior can't graft devil back into the original? That would be a contradiction, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Sister Sharon.
What's the camel?
Oh, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Okay. So Minister Farrakhan used the term Yakub in reverse. Well, if there's Yakub in reverse, then obviously the devil can be grafted back into original. Make
Yes.
sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at what Minister Farrakhan said, because this is the inverse operation. This is what justifies our mathematics. So Minister says in this is from Closing the Gap. It said, can you turn down Master Farah Muhammad's mother and tell her that she is less than who she is because of the color of her skin? I ain't coming to such a banquet. Hell no. You mean if the Savior invited you to a banquet provided by his mother, you would act like Iblis and say, I am better than she, for I am made of fire while she is made of dust? You'll reverse the Iblis of yesterday. So he would ask, well, what hindered you when it was I who commanded you? Okay, so then in that, it bears witness to the Quran's teaching that evil is a bad name after faith. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's words to me in May 1966 that were one of the factors that led to this interview that I shared with Minister Farrakhan. So this is Brother Jarrell speaking, when the tape was of where Master Farah Muhammad took me into the mind of Yaqub and showed me how the idea of devil arose in his mind. And then of recent, brother, he took me into the mind of the first God. Now, some of these words are misspelled. I cut and pasted this straight from the book, so I didn't miss these. So please forgive the mistakes. He took me into the mind of the first God and showed me how the idea of universe arose in his mind. Now, here's the key. Minister Farrakhan responded. Now listen closely to this. It seems to me that what he said to you, that you could not remember anything else, but that was to stay in your mind for a reason. It's because we are at the time when those two gods and the way the ideas arose in their minds is necessary to understand, because we're now at the time of the God who is going to make all things new. So the mind is going to be made new. Now, make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
So in order to do that, we have to understand the process of grafting. Well, we know in the grafting process, we had the minister, the doctor, the nurse, and the cremator, right?
Yes, sir.
And then they would produce the child. If the child was black, then they destroyed it. If it was unlike, they saved it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Then they married unlike to unlike. And they
Mhm.
did that for 200 years. So they kept marrying unlike to unlike, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now, if we turn like and unlike to truth and falsehood, could we not say that they took falsehood, married falsehood unto falsehood, killed the truth, and then put out the falsehood, and then they married more falsehood to falsehood,
Yes,
and
sir.
carried that out, right?
Yes, sir.
So in order to reverse the operation, Yakub in reverse, we have to now take the truth, marry truth onto truth, and kill off
Yes, sir.
falsehood. Then we
That's right.
find more truth and marry truth onto truth. We kill off the falsehood.
That's right.
So if there's truth coming from L. Ron Hubbard and there's truth in the teachings, if we can marry truth unto truth and it gives us a higher understanding of truth, then doesn't that at the same time kill off falsehood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
So we're grafting in reverse.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then it says, he wanted his chief helper, upon whose shoulders he's going to put all powers, to know how that idea arose in the mind of the originator of the heavens and the earth, and how the idea of devil arose in the mind of Yakub, because now we are the new Yakub, and the Yakub's history is for us to study how to make a god, but it's the reverse of how you make a devil. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
You begin making devil by going among the dissatisfied, which is, I mean, this is happening right now as we speak. You begin by telling lies. You begin by making your laborers liars and then murderers. Over time, the lie and the murder can be birthed into the nature of the people that you are making. So that's what a devil is. He's a liar and a murderer and an opponent of the God of the truth and lie, correct?
Mm.
Now you're going to make a God. So you reverse the process. But you
Yes.
start with the same group, the dissatisfied, or we could say the aberrated. Could we not say that, the aberrated?
Yes, sir. You can.
So then you say, so you find among them those most willing to suffer, and if they forgot the F, suffer for the sake of change. So don't we have to suffer a little bit when we're going through processing?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we have to
Mhm.
suffer for the sake of change, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Then you start by telling them the truth. Well, isn't that what we go through in processing? We're told the
Yes,
truth
sir.
about ourselves, right?
Yes, sir.
And as painful as the truth is that we have to confront, when we let that go, doesn't that give us life?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
spiritual and physical. Then the more they love the truth and love the life, that truth dictates they become the willing participants in the making of a people that will bring into existence the new heaven, the new earth, and the whole new civilization. That's from Closing the Gap, page 285 and 286. So, in my humble opinion, when we're going through this processing, we're actually going through a reverse grafting process.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, when understood properly, the processing found in Dianetic Tech is the reverse process of making devil, which is dealing with compulsions and insanity. Could we all agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Anyone disagree with that? Anyone not understand that? Praise due to Allah. Let's keep it going. Here we go. What is the camel?
Well, Luke, man,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, but I remember distinctively something about the so the Caucasian not being made new or something like that. And so if we're reversing, understand where I'm going with this,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we're reversing it because uh then that's a door open for him, am I right? To come back to the original state
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with his mother and all that, right?
Okay. Wait. Okay. So
Okay.
wait. So
So
what do you mean by him coming? With respect to,
the Caucasian can come back to the original state. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying based on the minister's words in Savior's Day 2011, that the process can
Okay.
be done. Yes.
It can be done. Yes, it
Yes.
can be done.
Because
Okay.
the lessons say the prophets have determined that it can't be. We don't deal with prophet knowledge. We deal
Oh,
with
okay.
God knowledge. The
Yeah,
prophets
he
didn't have
just
the power to do it.
yes, sir. He explained that. That's why he said you can't call him that
Yes.
because he's here to fulfill
Yes.
everything that they say.
Hmm.
So he's not talking about what gonna be done. He's doing it now. Am I right?
Right. The minister said it like this. The minister said that, and I can't remember the exact words, but the minister said that every Caucasian should flock to L. Ron Hubbard because L.
Yes,
Ron
I
Hubbard
remember that.
was
I
given
remember.
something to remove this is my understanding, that
Yes.
they were given something to remove the reactive mind from Yakub. But now I want to add another step to this. So this
Okay.
is based on um, the minister saying that he believes that the Savior met with L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes, I
No one has
remember.
verified it, but the minister said he believed. But I want to give two facts, or in Scientology, they call it senior data, or in our teachings, we call them actual facts. Point
Okay.
number one. Now, this is an actual fact from our teaching. We have been taught that one of the reasons why the Savior had to come from a black father and a white mother is so that he could give justice to both people, correct?
Yes, right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember.
So that's an actual fact. That's called a stable datum in Scientology. He came from both people so
Okay.
he could give justice to both people.
Okay.
Now, in the Holy Quran, Allah says that he always raises up a messenger from amongst their own people speaking their own language, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, if we marry those two concepts together, this is just my opinion. If we marry those two concepts together, if Allah always raises up a messenger from amongst own people speaking their own language, and if Master Fra Muhammad was a product of both races to give justice to both people, to me, that would mean that Allah would raise up a messenger for white people and a
Yeah.
messenger for black people.
Okay.
Because the Holy Quran says that messenger has to come speaking the language of their own people.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why, to me, when you look at Scientology, but you look at it from the standpoint of one who has studied it, not just someone who just flaps their gums and they want to criticize,
Mhm.
but based on what the Most High Elijah Muhammad tells us in Message to the Black Man, if you want to prove that what you've been taught is right or true, you should study all religions and their scripture. That's page 90, third paragraph from the top. He's telling us if you want to prove what you have is true, study all the religions.
Mm.
And then in doing that, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but in the study that I have been undergoing in the tech, I see the lessons all throughout.
Yes.
Every book I go through, I see the Supreme Wisdom lessons. But to me, it's L. Ron Hubbard put the teachings in his own language, which he says that Scientology is the marriage between religion and nuclear physics.
Mm.
We're taught that our lessons are based on astronomy. Have we not heard that before?
Yes, sir.
So we have an
Yes,
astronomical
sir.
theology and they have a nuclear physics theology. In problem number 13, it says, after learning mathematics is Islam and Islam is mathematics that stands true, then you can always
Mhm.
prove it in no limited
Limited
time.
time.
So
Yes, sir.
what it's telling us is, in order to understand one, you have to study both.
Okay.
The mistake that we make is
Excuse
we
me.
have these mathematical engrams. So unless and until we put our mind to the study of mathematics, we won't really fully understand our Islam. And if we don't study our Islam, we won't come to a full realization of mathematics. So
That-
I say that not for anyone in this group, but you have people that will criticize and judge the minister for having us study what we're studying or make comments about L. Ron Hubbard and what he was revealed and saying that it's garbage or worthless, but they have neither studied Dianetics nor have they even studied their own lessons. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yes, sir. Because he did an article about be careful how you um shift me in your brain, in
I
your
just
brain.
saw, yes, I just saw that. Yes,
Did
ma'am.
you see that too?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes,
said, "Wow,
Yeah.
okay, yes,
Yeah.
sir,
Don't play around.
okay,
Don't even play around with me in your mind.
yeah,
yeah,
yes." Because
Mhm.
he said people do that,
Mhm.
and they haven't studied, you
Yes.
know, and a fulfiller. We ain't seen that
Hmm.
ever until now.
Hmm.
Because I never seen 2 million men in my life.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know about nobody else. I just know what I ain't never seen.
Hmm.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when I saw that, I said, okay, we got something here.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
erupt
it's
because
okay.
I
No.
knew the last time before uh, I was going through my test to try. They were talking about not being able to save the Caucasian or whatever.
But
Yeah.
that's not our job, Minister
I
Farr.
know.
If I
Yes,
remember
sir.
correctly, that's not our job, but
Right.
that is someone's job because then Allah would not be beneficent and merciful.
Right.
Mm,
And then you talked about the minister telling us about the Caucasian them having a device which may be processing or whatever that
Hmm.
helps everybody, but it definitely helps the Caucasian
Hmm.
if he want to be helped.
Exactly.
You
If he
know.
wants to be helped, and and,
Yes,
and,
sir.
I, and I'll say this: in the time I've been here at Flag, going to the org. Now again, there's good and bad in everything.
mm,
However, I've had individuals, Caucasian. Now, obviously, I have Caucasian family members, but I've been around individuals that have had nothing but the utmost respect and have treated me with no problem.
mm,
I'm not falling asleep on everybody. All I'm saying is
mm,
I've seen how the tech works, and I know how I've been handled, and I have seen a
mm,
lot of benefit and a lot of individuals I'll say that were genuine in their
mm,
representation, in their treatment of me. I have not detected anything deceitful or anything like that. So when the minister said that, you know, L. Ron Hubbard was given something that was put in place to help them, that's right in sync with what we were taught, that the Savior came to give justice to both people.
Yes, sir.
mm, mm.
I see that.
Yes,
I
sir.
see that as well.
Praise be to
Yes, sir.
Allah.
Okay.
Sister Siobhan, did you have your hand up, Brother Tawanda?
No, it was myself. I just wanted to back up the point and say that again, Mr. Farrakhan lets us know that what makes the Caucasian evil is not the whiteness of his skin, but
Right.
it is the teaching of Yakub. And L. Ron Hubbard's teaching undoes that.
Yes.
And as you explained, basically the ability to take away the reactive mind, and the state that comes after clear is operating Thetan, which is
God in
very,
person.
very aligned to
Yes.
absolutely original man.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. So, and I believe there's a philosopher Schopenhauer who said that there is no such thing as a white man. That every white man you see is a bleached out black man,
Yes, sir.
basically.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's looking at going back to the original, and also in the one of the sisters asked a question about, is this not in the Bible, the eye of the needle one? Yes,
Hmm.
it is in Matthew 19 verse 23 to 26.
Thank
I
you.
don't have it in front of me to read, but I read it earlier. But it says there, which makes the points that you're making. It says that it's what's impossible for man is not impossible for God.
Hmm.
So with regards to the camp going through the eye of the needle,
Hmm.
so for a prophet it may be impossible, but
Hmm.
for God it is not. So
Mhm.
it's just basically for that understanding to be established that, where we are in history, as we know, the white man's world expired in 1914. So from that time to now, it's now God's domain.
Mhm.
It's no longer them, though they may be even the instruments, but it is actually the will of God that is being done. Their
Mhm.
world is expired. So now we are now really dealing with our way to the year after.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a few points I wanted to make.
That's
Assalamu
good.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Tawanda. Um, in our lesson, it says this, and I'll keep it real brief. It said that Yaqub was the original black man, was the father of the devil. He taught the devils to do this devilishment. So devilishment is
Mm.
a teaching. But where did that teaching come from? Came from an original black man.
The Potter.
Okay.
That's
And,
right.
and then the other part of this was if you go on page 28 and page 29 of Closing the Gap, the minister speaks about Alfonso and how he removed the devils from Master Fard Muhammad's mother, which verifies the
Yes,
fact
sir.
that you can reverse the process because, and I say this with
Mm.
the utmost respect, L. Ron Hubbard is not the first one to remove the reactive mind. I would say, in my kindergarten understanding, it was Alfonso. The
Yes,
first
sir.
one that the first one's
Yes, sir.
that's noted in our history, because when you look at how it's worded
Mm.
in Closing the Gap, to me at least it shows that Alfonso removed the reactive mind of Baba G or Baby G as she's called, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
so we didn't call it Dianetics. It was just the science of the original man, I guess. So we've always had it. Now, if Alfonso had it, do you think he passed that down to Master Fard Muhammad?
Absolutely.
And if Master Fard Muhammad got it, doesn't he make all things new?
Yes, sir.
So is it
Yes, sir.
possible that he got the process and he improved on it?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. Just to add on to that, there is an article that was written by a brother Wesley Muhammad. You know, when he was uh, when he was a 5%er under the name True Islam.
Mm-hmm.
He's called Master Fard Muhammad and the 24 Scientists. And in that article, basically, he talks about the scientists that they make a visitation and they speak to an individual amongst the people and bequeath that individual with knowledge. So, and when you listen to L. Ron Hubbard and how he studied in the East and how he moved, it's almost like he was taken through these processes and remember, they're discoveries that he made. So when you discover something, it means that it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
It was already there. You just found it out when you found it out, but it was already in existence. Also, we're taught that it's seven devils that were removed from the woman, and in Scientology, you have the first seven dynamics. Then you have the eighth dynamic, which is the supreme being.
Mm-hmm.
So it would seem to me that the mother of Master Fard Muhammad was cleared by the father of Master Fard Muhammad on all the other seven dynamics
Mm-hmm.
to be able to come to be able to be prepared to receive and welcome in the eighth dynamic in Master Fard Muhammad.
Mm.
That's just my thinking on that.
Yes,
Assalamu
sir.
alaikum.
Thank you, brother.
Wow.
Wow. That's good stuff right there.
hmm
Praise be to
Sister
Allah.
Angela, what do they say from the wheel, Sister Angela?
Okay, let's get it. Let's get it. First, I wanted to share. I love movies. So, if anybody watched Hellboy, you know about Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
One
Which one you talking about? The first one?
let's see. Yeah, because there's two different Hellboys. The one where he gets pulled into this down and he has to visit Baba Yaga. And I found that to be very close to Baba
Mm,
Ji, right?
mm, mm, mm,
So I wanted to go since the brother left off with the scientists. I'm gonna start there. So one of my favorite pages in Closing the Gap is 104. Second to last paragraph, he talks about Master Fard Muhammad coming to put us equal to the scientists that the brother just
mm,
spoke about. So this lets us know something. When Allah came himself, it's not like any other prophet visiting the people. So we have to, first of all, Master Muhammad is compassionate
mm,
enough to allow to drop something on a white man to give his people a path to go to. uh, 35 to 50 years to clean themselves up. So when the judgment comes, they can never say they didn't have the time to at least be amongst
mm.
us before they was utterly slayed, right?
Yes,
Then
sir.
we
Mm,
are, praise be to Allah. And then we are looking at our lessons. I think I just lost my train of thought, but inshallah I'll get it back.
We'll
So
come back.
when we, okay, yeah. So we're looking at Master Fard Muhammad, and I'm very cautious when I learned about the reactive mind because the scientists could not see the last 10,000 years because Master Fard Muhammad's light is so blinding.
Mm-hmm.
He comes with something so spectacularly new that it has never been seen before. That's why they couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
He came to raise a nation of gods amongst
mm,
devils,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
And at the
mm.
same time, I want you to pay real close attention because white people teach about the dark ages for a reason, and we don't realize they're talking about Musa. And in Europe, I know my family there know there's a town called Musa.
Wow.
Okay, they reverence the womb, and I'm talking about his mind because he came to
Mm,
teach the devils
mm,
the forgotten technology. But look
mm,
what happened to the devils when they were left on their own, even with the language, they
mm.
still went savage.
Okay. Mm.
But then we got to go a little deeper, family. What happened to Shabazz, though?
Yes.
Scientists that wanted us to speak the same dialect, where did
Mm,
that come from? There were
mm,
no devils then, not no many devils.
mm,
So it was still lurking inside. Now I can't even fathom the the type of civilization that the gods lived in when Allah walked among us.
mm,
That
mm.
a scientist has that type of power, and I see his heart. That's probably what drove him insane. Because sometimes when we come from a good place, like Cain, I want to please you, Lord, but you're not accepting my gift,
Mm,
and you
mm,
say you taking his, and I'm driving myself insane, and when you really boil it down, is how the I think our enemies study that, and it's love. Love
mm,
will make you do some. I'm talking about dangerous things.
Mm-hmm.
And Cain's love of Allah drove him crazy,
mm,
envious of his brother because his brother seemed to be getting light from Allah. So Shabazz' love for humanity, let them speak the same dialect. It's not the same language, but it's the same foundation. So no matter what we're saying, we can always understand a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Shabazz didn't know what lied beneath even in him. That's why Allah didn't allow it, but He didn't give Allah a chance. So I'm gonna, you don't know if we can have peace and everlasting peace, and I'm just kill everybody because we're not gonna be able to get out of this if my plan doesn't go into action, and that's His devil right there.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying, so it is expeditious for us. It's expedient for us because the minister is leaving.
Mm-hmm.
We face our devils, and this is a mercy. Dianetics is a mercy from Allah.
Mm-hmm.
And to be reminded when the brother Abdul Malik was speaking, and the minister said, "Now that you've mastered that, bring it back." So we
Mm-hmm.
must speed up. I did. I'm thankful to Allah that I became an auditor and a supervisor and a gold seal auditor because it
Wow.
helps me understand other facets of Dianetics. However, I have to start cracking these books so
Mm-hmm.
I can bring it back and,
Mm,
from what
mm,
I see, If it happened today, Lord have mercy. We are not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Not prepared. We're ill prepared. So I think we have to work at a very fast vibration. A vibratory rate has to be. We're gonna have to catch up to that 24 billion miles per second.
Yes, ma'am.
mm,
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister
wow.
Angela.
Wow.
Hola.
Sister Heidi, I did see your hand up earlier. Did you still have your question?
Oh,
You
Oh,
good?
that song.
Was she singing?
It sounded like she was singing.
Sister Sharon?
I was going to ask,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
hear me. Uh, you mentioned that the based on astronomy. Can you tell me a little bit about that and where that can be found?
Uh, I tell you what, it would take up time right now. But I give you my word, I will go into, I believe it's in Closing the Gap.
I was gonna say I'm gonna scan it for you real quick.
Okay, I believe it's in Closing the Gap, but our teachings are based on astronomy, and I believe I saw that in Closing the Gap. But Sister Angela is our resident authority on Closing the Gap because she was part of the individuals that were proofreading that for Brother Jabril, correct,
All
Sister
right.
Angela?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she's our uh, um, authority on that.
Just like you said, resident.
Yeah, right. So we'll get the actual facts on that, and we will make sure we get that to you because we always got to have our receipts.
Yes, sir.
But that's a good question. Sister Sharon, your hand is up.
Yeah, I kind of forgot my question a little bit, but what I remember of it when you were speaking was I kept hearing formula, 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 you know, reversing a formula.
Mm-hmm.
And last time we were together, that business about formula came up. I can't think of what the context was right now, but the the way the lessons or the problem book are worded
Mm-hmm.
contains formula,
Mm-hmm.
and we can see the more we study repetition of formula as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always new formulas. After you get past the specifics of it, it's like, oh, that's the formula. And so, having been taught that Master Farad Muhammad taught in formula,
Mm-hmm.
we can see now the formula in what he taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you can understand why we're taught that mathematics is Islam and Islam is mathematics. You said you got to study both. You got to study math, and math helps you with the Islam. Islam helps you with the math.
Mm-hmm.
It's it, it feels like in the middle of the complexity of it all is the simplicity of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it feels like that duality when I listen to you go through the maze tonight, right? Listen to you go through it. I was hearing that. It's like, oh, it's formula. Okay, there's the formula.
Mm,
Oh, you can just
mm,
reverse the formula. Okay, the
mm,
formula can, if the formula works this way, then you're always talking about a proof. Then you should be able to prove it. Then you should be able to reverse a formula. If you can use the formula to
mm,
do one thing, then you must be able to take the same formula. So it says that if we understand the root of what he's teaching, then the branch becomes much easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
So yeah, for my mind, it keeps me in. Don't get caught up in the specific. See if you can see the big picture
Yes,
of it. Can
ma'am.
you see the pattern in the big? And then it's
mm,
like the rest of it just falls into its own place
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's driving it all.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that's it's interesting. Yeah, I just want to say that.
Well, thank you, Sister Sharon. As always, you got us thinking
praise
outside the
Allah.
circumference again. That's great. That's great. Thank you. Let us. Oh wait,
Mhm.
Sister Jeanette, I see you. I saw you when you came in. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, family. I'm
How
sorry.
are
I
you?
tried to sneak in because I was late.
No, that's okay.
Trying by Allah's
I
grace. How's
saw
how's
you.
everybody?
Praise be to
Everyone's
Allah.
doing
Well,
wonderful.
sister.
Everyone's
Praise
doing
be
How
to
are
wonderful.
you?
Allah.
How
Good
are
to be
you?
here.
So, Sister Jeanette, have you met our family from England?
Yes, last time. Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed them. They bring
Praise
a
be.
lot to the conversation.
Yes.
Praise
So
be
I
to
got to
Allah.
try to land this plane because it's late over there now, and I know they got to get their
Oh,
rest.
wow.
So let's try to see if we can land this real quick. So the camel, this is what Sister Sharon was asking for. Who's the camel? So the camel in Arabic, the Arabic word is jamala. And the word jamala, it also means to act well, to act with decency, to be friendly, or to be courteous.
Hmm.
It means to summarize, to add up, or to find the sum or total.
Hmm.
So it's almost as if the camel is describing the product of going through the eye of the needle. Doesn't it make sense?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because if you and I can go through the process of getting rid of all of our baggage, then what do we become? We become well, we act well, we become decent, friendly, or
Hmm.
courteous.
Mhm.
Okay. So the camel could represent a person, the goal of one who has gone through the eye of the needle.
Hmm.
When one is
Hmm.
able to access and confront the secrets of the heart, not only the actions committed against us, but the actions we've committed against others, we can
Hmm.
identify the poison at the root of our present time actions, then we become friendly, courteous, and civil. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, the
Brother
poison,
Lukman,
yes, sir.
just real quick, if I can say that, that makes me think of that we're not to be found weighing other than ourselves.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right.
Mm.
Because the more of our past we can give up, then we actually become lighter and we don't carry around the baggage of our past. So
Hmm.
we're changing our weight. So you are absolutely correct.
Praise be to Allah.
That's another way to look at it. So once we can remove this rust from our hearts, what is the result? So we
Hmm.
said, you got to be able to open up the doors of heaven and get into the garden, right?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay. So the doors of heaven are open. Well, what does that mean? Abwaba al samah. So the doors comes from the root word bab, which means to divide or arrange in groups, and the gates meaning opening or entry points. But it
Mm.
also means, when you look at it from the perspective of heaven, so we want to entry into heaven. Well, what does heaven mean in Arabic? It means to be highly elevated. It means to be difficult to comprehend or understand. It means celestial.
Hmm.
So, what holds us back from the thoughts of a high civilization are the events from our past. So, being stuck in
Wow.
past events actually slows down our thinking.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, once we get rid of all the stuff from our past, we free up our mind like a computer that you remove the malware from the processing
Yeah.
speed
Hmm.
increases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you noticed when there's a lot of things on your phone or computer and you're trying to use a computer, you notice how your computer heats up?
Goes down.
And then
Hmm.
when it heats
Yes,
up, it
sir.
shuts down, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Well, doesn't the same thing happen to us? We heat up, get angry, and then our brain shuts down, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because we have
Yes,
because
Yes.
we
sir.
have a lot on our mind, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But the doors of heaven here could mean that the more we process and get into an understanding of who we are, the things that at one time were difficult to understand are no longer difficult. Why? The doors of heaven are now open. The difficult
Yes,
things
sir.
become easy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for those that have studied the tech, have you not experienced difficult things becoming easy?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so what's the garden?
Hmm.
And this is where we wrap it up. The garden, that's the Arabic. I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Well, I will try to pronounce it. Yadayuluna el Janata.
Hmm.
Okay. So the word enter the garden means to go, to take possession of someone, the inner nature, the inner self, the heart, or intention. And garden means paradise or ecstasy, which means to be on cloud nine, elation, heaven, or paradise or euphoria.
Maybe tone 40?
Tone 40
Oh,
all
yeah.
day long,
Wow.
sister. Exactly
Wow.
right. Because now you take possession, you become
Mm,
cause over your inner thinking, don't you?
Yes.
mm, mm,
Okay. So once the camel gets through the eye of the needle, the result is to gain possession of one's inner self, intention, or inner nature, which places them in a state of peace, which is
mm.
tone 40, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Okay. So quick summary, and then we will end it. So when you look at the eye of the needle, that's the poison that's at the root of our aberrations and compulsions, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But the camel passes through it means this is the process of examination of the inner heart or the mind of the individual. The camel has to confront. It has to
Mm.
go through the eye. So the individual has to go through the eye of the needle. It's the same as a person confronting their demons, correct?
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Then once we can confront and the weight is taken off of us, now the doors of heaven, which means what? The ability to gain access to information or data, which was difficult to understand and is now easier to comprehend.
In
And
Mm,
the
then we
elevated
enter what?
places.
Say again?
mm, mm,
I said in the elevated places.
Yes, the
mm,
elevated places. Then what happens after the doors are opened? Now the sky's the limit. Anything we put our mind to, we can accomplish. Now we enter the garden, which means what? We take possession and control of ourselves. We are cause. And
Mm.
he calls it, when you're aberrated, that's called other determinism. When you're clear on the first dynamic, that's called self-determinism. But as
Mm-hmm.
you
mm,
grow into the others, it's called pan-determinism, correct?
mm.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All of these are equivalent to the processes found in actually Dianetic processing. So can we see how the eye of the needle could be used as a metaphor to represent processing?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Does all this make sense?
Idiom.
Yes, sir.
That's an idiot.
Absolutely.
So family, that is it. That is
Beautiful.
just a
Beautiful.
little tidbit of I was studying something else today, and then it led to another, and the next thing you know, this is the result of the study, and I'm thankful to Allah that I was able to get it done in time, and I pray Allah that it makes sense. And for
Yes, sir.
anyone who watches this on the YouTube channel, if it makes sense, leave a comment, get into your study of the tech. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're to get deeper into the books again. If anyone has any questions about Dianetics Book One or Science or Survival, that's pretty much where we're hanging out. But
Mm,
any questions about any of the books, please drop a line in the email, and that will become the topic of another Zoom meeting. Your questions become my assignments.
mm.
So I will open the floor one last time to any comments or thoughts, and then we will wrap it up. Sister Sharon, did you have your hand up again, or is that from last time?
No, sorry.
Okay. Any final thoughts, questions, concerns, or corrections before we end our meeting tonight?
No, sir. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Just grateful and thankful, sir and sisters.
All praise is due to Allah. And this one will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. And I will try to do this tonight before I.
Student hat.
Okay.
What
I'm
about it?
sorry.
Just gonna
Um,
ask.
I was gonna say, the last word I said was idiom
Mhm,
when we talked about the eye of the needle. And that
mhm,
was I learned about idioms in the student hat course.
mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very
Yes.
interesting.
I'll give you one last thing under the word clearing. Um, and I only share this because this is something I didn't know about until just a couple of months ago. Well, under the word clearing, you have to understand the difference between synonyms and antonyms, correct?
Yes.
Does anyone here know what a contronym is?
No,
A
sir.
what?
You have synonyms, you have antonyms, and then you have contronyms. What is a contronym?
Consciousness.
It must be the opposite.
Opposite, maybe.
A contronym. I never knew this until I did word clearing.
I never heard of that word,
Yeah.
contronym.
The
Sister
opposite.
Would
Peggy?
it have something to do with
Must mean the opposite.
The opposite.
contradiction?
Yes. Sister Peggy, what were you saying?
The opposite.
Right. Sister Peggy, Sister Jeanette, you get a gold star. Yes.
I'm afraid you told me.
Yes. So I'll give you a good example. The word paradise is Jannah, right?
Mm-hmm.
The root word Jannah is also the same root word for jinn, which means devil or insanity.
Mhm.
So the word paradise and the word insanity are derived from the same root word.
Wow.
That's a contronym. A contronym is a word whose definitions actually contradict one another.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I looked it up. It says a contronym is a word that has two opposite meanings,
Yes,
depending on how it's used.
exactly.
Sanction, to approve or to penalize. That's an example.
Wait, say it again.
An example is sanction, to
Sanction.
approve or to penalize.
Right. You sanction a
All right.
country, or
Right.
you give sanction to the child to drive the car.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
Sanction
really
means to
bad.
approve or disapprove.
Raise and raise.
Mm.
Cleave, to split apart or to stick together.
Hmm.
Interesting.
That's bad. That's bad.
Raise and raise.
You said raise and raise.
Yeah, raise. You can raise a child. You can raise a city.
You can raise a what?
A child, and then you can destroy or raise a
Raise
city.
a city.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
And those two
Amazing.
different words, though, raise and raise.
Or wait, no, I think that might be. How are you spelling it?
I would think raise a city would be R-A-Z-E, but to
Well, it's
raise a child, R-A-I-S-E.
So that's what we call a homonym.
Okay.
a minute.
Okay.
So a homonym, if they're not spelt the same, if they sound the same, then that's a homonym. So you have synonyms, antonyms, contronyms, and homonyms. Words that sound the same.
Yeah.
In the modern day vernacular, the word bad would be
Yes.
considered one.
Not
Yes.
That's
not
bad.
bad mean bad, but bad mean good.
Good.
Kind of sick, but yeah, that's what it
And a
means.
little run
Yeah.
DMC in there.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Technology bit
Isn't
that you were talking about earlier.
Say what?
When we were talking earlier about how technology works,
yeah.
that is whether or not you understand the word that's
Mm.
being used. Well, if the exact same word can be used to mean opposites,
Mm-hmm.
then you could easily be fooled without the individual actually telling you a lie, or
Yes.
even without them, even without, because there's a lie by omission, and then
Mm.
there's an outright lie. But even without doing either,
Mm.
they can still successfully lie to you if they use the same word that has two meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
Like.
for that, Sister Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought that point up. Sister
Yes.
Angela, where does the minister speak about in closing the gap about that attorney that had mastered, he was such a good attorney, he had mastered the language?
Wow.
And was he talking? Is this about the straw man argument
I
too?
think so.
Yeah, so that's
Mm.
in the beginning. I actually had I in Pages. If you have an iPhone, if
Mhm.
you have a book or ebook there, you can actually scan the whole book if you want it. So I'm just gonna put in lawyer and see what comes up.
Yeah,
Okay.
he mentioned a lawyer by name and how that lawyer has such a high success rate because of his mastery of the human language.
Mm.
Hmm.
He said,
I was
I was and am very privileged to have heard what I did. I wrote that it was significant to me that a lawyer, Lewis Myers,
Hmm.
Yeah.
present when she later told her father that he said, Brother Lewis. And later, okay, maybe I should have read that. It might be him, so I'll just read on quietly. Go ahead, you can say what you're going to say.
No, I'm just saying the minister. I always like to refer to things that the minister said, especially with closing the gap. Um, I don't think it was Lou Myers though. This
No,
attorney,
it
this
wasn't Luke
attorney,
Meyer.
no, it wasn't Lou Myers. It was
No,
a
it
it was a
He
wasn't.
said
Caucasian
attorney instead
attorney.
of lawyer.
Um,
Who was it?
his name is right on the tip of my tongue too. But he said he was victorious because of his mastery of the English language. because that's what attorneys use. Actually, when I
Mm.
originally went to college, I was actually going to go into law, and that was part of what we had to learn as far as logic and fallacies and propositional logic. And they'll use what's called a fallacy to dissuade a person or to convince or avoid an argument when they can't win the argument. They
Mhm.
will win through the trick of language.
Mhm.
Mm.
And if a
Yep.
person
Mm.
doesn't detect the
Oh,
trick, then you just don't detect the trick and you're fooled.
Brother
Mm.
Lookman,
Mhm.
like the word whole, WHOLE, and whole, HOLE.
Those are homonyms
Oh
Those
no,
are
because they
those
sound the same.
right. Yeah, they
Mm.
sound, but they spell differently. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What's
they're
that?
spelled differently, so they wouldn't be a contronym. A contronym,
Oh, a contronym.
yeah, a
Okay.
contronym is when a word can have two definitions, and the definitions will actually contradict one another.
Mm.
The word Jannah means heaven, garden, or paradise, but it also means insanity. That's the root word. It also
Mm.
means insanity, or jinn, or devil.
Mm.
So you
Mm.
have
Right.
paradise and you have devils, and all comes from the same root word. That's called a contronym.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
But
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Brother, Brother Lukman,
yes,
with
sir.
regards to as an idea,
Hmm.
in the Garden of Eden, where the serpent or the devil said that they would not die if they ate the forbidden fruit. So the idea is God said that if you eat this fruit, you will surely die. The devil said you will not die. If you eat it, you'll become, God doesn't want you to basically to become
Mhm.
immortal, also that effect.
Mhm.
So the minister lets us know that when you look at it, it's like the devil didn't lie
He didn't.
because they ate the forbidden fruit and they didn't drop and die.
Hmm.
So so it's just the idea, the same idea, with regards to the Garden of Eden and that particular situation. Just
The,
wanted
the
to make
the
that point.
devil was taking it literally, and God was
Yes,
speaking mentally or spiritually.
Right. Right.
yes.
But brother, that's why we run into as many problems as we do in communication, and why we end up fighting among ourselves so much because of
Understood word.
the failure of having a universal understanding in terms of the definition of the words that we're using. So, when you're using a word, and it may not be that your definition is wrong, but that I can't reach your definition because my view of the word is narrow in definition.
Mm,
And so
mm,
you
mm,
keep missing the other person.
Hmm.
And that is the root of a lot of frustration, root of um um just a total failure to communicate. And if you were in battle and you couldn't communicate with the people in your team, you're going to lose the battle
Hmm.
if
right,
if you
right.
if you can't even communicate with your own people. And that's what makes language as dangerous as it is,
Hmm.
because the white man learned how to weaponize language.
Right.
And that's why lawyers are hated so much,
Hmm.
because people recognize that which makes them good is what makes them bad.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's the same word.
Which,
Call
yeah.
that a
Mhm.
contronym. What makes them good is what makes them
Yeah.
bad, and that is the mastery to the point where you can deceive. The weaponization of anything. You can weaponize truth.
Absolutely.
Because somebody says, "I saw you talking to a woman down the road," and I come back to your wife and I say, "I just saw Lukeman down the road talking to this woman." It's
Hmm.
all true, but what
Yes.
was my intention behind,
Hmm.
Yes.
behind using it? So
And
when you were
what was the
speaking this
inflection?
evening,
What was the inflection in your voice? Did you say, "I saw Lukeman down the street talking to a woman," or "I saw Lukeman down the street and he was talking to a woman"?
uh-huh,
Inflection,
I
voice
just,
inflection.
Inflection.
You know.
Yes, sir.
do you
Um,
know that in Bermuda, do you know that, I don't know if it's still true in the UK, but one of the boring things about a case, say, that goes to Supreme Court, in Bermuda, the
Yes.
the judge still has to write it down by hand.
Wow. Wow.
Well, and I forget, I had heard once the rationale behind why he's still writing it down by hand. I
Wow.
think it has something to do with, if it was recorded, then you would be subject to the way the word was said as opposed to what was said, because the
Wow.
Mhm.
inflection or everything is, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Anyway, I just that just made me think of that. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, the one thing that is done, like if two people are getting ready to dialogue and someone uses a word, I've seen people say, "Well, what is the context or how are you using that word?" That
Mm.
narrows them down into. So
Yeah.
now, if that's the way you're using the word, then that's what we're going with. Number one.
Right.
National Spelling Bee, they do that. They say
Yeah,
Mm.
use it in a sentence. They
using a
they
sentence.
say
What is
they
the
do that.
context? Number one.
Yes, and then I think maybe in debate, maybe,
Hmm.
because again, it's all about the ability
Right.
to use words well.
The
Absolutely.
trick in argument is if you can get away with ambiguous word, and then someone will corner you on that word, you can say, "Well, that's not the way in which I was using it. When I was
Right.
using that word, this is what I was meaning." So that
Hmm.
just gave you some wiggle room to get out. You know, brothers that
Mm.
got multiple girlfriends know how to do this
Yeah.
really, really well.
I wonder, is
It-
that as true for other languages, or is it more true for the bastard language of English?
that's
I
interesting.
wonder if it is
Mm.
as,
Mm.
That's interesting. I don't know, but
Excellent
but I
question.
do know this. When you look at the minister in his interviews, and they'll use certain words. It's like when they said, he's a racist. What did he do? He took the word and he broke it down. He
Hmm.
Mm.
says, well, when you study chemistry, you're a chemist. And I was studying the violin, I'm a violinist. And he talks to you,
Mm.
and the suffix on the end of the word means one who does this or one who studies. And that, so based on that, yeah, based on the word, I do study race. So therefore, he takes the power from them.
Right.
Yes.
And then
Right.
Yes.
when they said, well, you said Hitler was great, he said, well, let's look at the word great. And he broke it
Hmm.
down. He said, well, great
Hmm.
doesn't mean good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now when you have language, you basically, and I'll say it
Yes.
like this will be the last thing I say, I promise. But in Revelations 11, it says there's two men that stand before God. And these two men are the candlesticks that stand before the God of the earth. And these two had the ability that when people came against them, fire will proceed out their mouth. Now, it
Mm.
doesn't mean that these two people were breathing fire. It means since fire reduces things down
Come
to
on.
the common denominator,
Mm.
anything fire
Mm.
touches reduces it down to carbon. Okay.
Mm.
Right.
And when a house is burned down and we're in there, you see a lot of soot, a lot of black, a lot of carbon. The minister breathes fire. What does that mean? That means
Come
when
on.
he takes truth and he
Mm.
breaks things down to its root. So when you
Yes.
come at him and say X, Y, and Z, and I always go back to that interview, that reporter, the minister spanked him so merciful. He spanked him, but he did it mercifully. He says, "Well, I understand. I'm paraphrasing it, but he let him know, I see your question, but I know your motive. So
Mm.
here's how I'm
Mm.
gonna respond to this." He
Mm.
says, "But what you try to do in a negative way, God found good in it. Meaning, I saw you,
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
but matter of fact, I took the belt out of your hand and I spanked you with it.
He knocked out falsehood's brains.
Now sit
Yes.
down and be quiet." Is basically what I
Yes.
saw.
He,
Absolutely.
he saw
Anyway,
him
Hmm.
coming. He saw him coming.
Absolutely.
all right,
So,
Sister Angela, you get the last word, so we can close it down. It's almost
Okay,
9 o'clock.
well, I guess he said you tried it, but
Say what?
the minister said you tried it.
You try, but I saw. The minister said, "I don't listen to what you say. I listen to your intention." That's
And
wow.
powerful. That's
Hmm.
Wow.
bad. That's bad. That's some bad.
Hmm.
I
That's a
listen to
bad
your
man.
intention.
to point out a couple of things that you all are saying, and I'm listening, and sometimes I close my eyes and listen to everything that's coming out. And the fire is definitely purification. It burns the dross and reveals the gold. All
Mm.
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 right, and then we're looking at the first thing we think that's breathe fire is a dragon, right? But the dragon
Right.
relation was water,
Yes.
blood,
Yes.
which is so interesting to me. So it brought me to
Wow.
um, supreme wisdom. What causes problem 13 to be taken out of the problem book, out of the book of problems, and put in the front before actual facts and student enrollment?
Mm-hmm.
What is the 1 and 3? What is the 1 and 3? Us. This thing about mastering language.
Mm.
That's on page 19, where the minister is walking us through how Master Fard Muhammad um, taught the way Brother Lukman is saying in pictures and why. So I think we all should go through, because I started reading the book after I was supposed to be looking for something, right? I started
Mm-hmm.
reading. That's just happened.
Oh, Sister Angela, the attorney's name was Huntsler.
Okay. Yeah, because I was on page 19 looking at how Master Fard Muhammad.
Taught the believers,
Mm,
early believers.
exactly. But you gotta understand, and this is my last point of everything that I heard, especially talking about the cave and how they went savage, even with the language. So it takes me to message to the black man in the flag of Islam. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if they killed every person on the planet, on earth, he said the black man will rise again. So there's something naturally innate in us that even if we are left alone, we wouldn't turn savage because
Mm-hmm.
that's not our nature. It
Mm-hmm.
also is a cautionary warning for the Caucasian people that are on the planet right now. They really need to take the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard and learn how to be in harmony with Allah's truthful universe, because this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Untruth and evil does not belong in Allah's universe. And because the light is so blinded with Master Fard Muhammad, the earth is ridding herself of her burdens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, I'm talking about mother, that lady, Andrea, or whatever her last name was. She took the time and drowned each one of her children,
Wow.
That's a
one
shock of the hour.
by one.
Wow.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's the shock of the hour. That's the state of.
I think it's Yates is her last name, Andrea Yates.
Mm-hmm.
And then she calmly called the police. Then she calmly called the husband. And she said 4 are in the bed, one is still in the tub.
Wow.
Yep, it's the shock of the hour.
Mm.
Well, let me say one thing about the dragon, and then we'll end it. When you study, no, because I always like try to plant seeds for us to study. Plant seeds for us to study.
It's okay, I don't mind.
We know the brown man is the Japanese, right? And then we know the Japanese and the Chinese. But there's a book called the I Ching. Have we heard of the I Ching? The
Yeah.
book of changes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
When you look into I Ching and it mentions the dragon,
Mm.
the characteristic of a dragon is equivalent to a tone 40.
Oh, wow.
Okay. When you read the characteristic of what the dragon represents in that culture based on the I Ching, it is comparable to a person of a high tone level. So in
Mm.
that culture, dragon represents something very, very
Right.
positive.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So Bruce Lee was called the dragon, right?
Bruce Lee to me was like the bee that goes from flower to flower. But what Bruce
Mm.
Lee did was he went from martial art style to martial art style. He took the best from all the styles and produced what's
Right.
called Jeet Kune Do. But
Yes,
that's a
sir.
whole nother topic for a whole nother time, and it's getting late.
Yes, sir.
But inshallah,
Brother Lukman,
yes, ma'am. Make it
can
quick.
you spell EG?
The letter I, well, depends on, there's two ways to spell it, but the letter I dash Ching. You can pronounce it,
Oh,
you can pronounce it I Ching or I Jing. There's two
okay.
ways to pronounce it.
Thank you.
It's called the Book of Changes. And really it's 64 different cycles of action.
Hmm.
And I believe L. Ron Hubbard also read that. That's another one that L. Ron Hubbard did read.
Wow.
So when you read Cycles
Thank
of
you.
Action, this
Mm-hmm.
book contains what they say every type of cycle of action that exists. So the root of the book is if you can find a particular cycle of action, you can locate that particular one. You can see what caused it and how to change it to get the desired result. It's like a supreme wisdom for that culture in that time period. It's like their
Okay.
supreme wisdom. We have our supreme wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I Ching is thousands of years old. It was written by 4 different individuals. One individual produced what's called the original pattern of the yin and
Mm-hmm.
yang. I think his name was King Wen. And then you
Mm-hmm.
had no, Fu Zi. Fu Zi was the one who came up with it. King Wen produced and brought it and elevated to another level of the what's called the 8 trigrams. And
Mm-hmm.
then his son, the Duke of Zhou, produced the 64 hexagrams.
Right.
And then Confucius actually wrote what's called the 10 wings. He expanded on it. And
Mm.
maybe at another time we'll compare that and see how it compares to the Supreme Wisdom lessons and the tech. Because it all relates to one another. It's that Supreme Wisdom for that time period, for that people,
Those
in
people.
that
Yes,
culture.
sir.
That was their Supreme Wisdom at that time period.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am.
Praise be to Allah.
All right, family. Inshallah, we will see each other again next Sunday, God willing. If you have any questions or thoughts, please send them in the email. If you watch the video, if you see a mistake or error or something that was just opened your mind up, leave a comment and we will expand on it at another time. I pray Allah will continue to bless us in our study. Let us go ahead and close out in prayer.
Praise be to Allah.
Attention prayer. Seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please Allah guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors. Not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray if they have heard thy teaching. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, family. May Allah continue to bless
Alaikum
us.
salam.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Thank
Alaikum
you.
salam. Alaikum salam, sisters. Alaikum salam, brother.
Yes, sir.
Alaikum salam.